All right, let's get into it. The transfer window giveth and the transfer window taketh away. We've finally got our man, but it looks like we've had our pocket picked for the other one. It's the classic Newcastle United experience, isn't it? At the end of the day, a story of triumph and pure frustration, all in the same 24-hour news cycle. Well, we'll have a verbal agreement in place for one of England's most promising young goalkeepers, a deal that has been over a year in the making. It's a signing that points to the future, a real statement of intent. But, and there's always a but, just as we thought we were getting ready to celebrate, it seems our top attacking target, or at least one of them, the player we thought was destined for Tyneside, has been dramatically hijacked, and I mean dramatically hijacked, as Chelsea have swooped in. The London Lights are apparently calling, and a deal that looked so promising is now hanging by a thread. It's a real annoyance. So let's break it down. The good news, the bad news, and what on earth it all means for Newcastle United in this transfer window this season. Let's start with the positive, because after a long wait, this is a big one. Newcastle United have reached a verbal agreement with Burnley for the signing of James Trafford. This has been a long time coming, over 12 months in fact. The club first tried to sign him last summer, and personal terms were reportedly agreed even back then, but just didn't get over the line for one reason or another. Now, finally, it seems we're there, and after a bit of back and forth, productive talks have been held, and a compromise on the fee is understood to be very close. Newcastle's initial bids were knocked back by Burnley, but the Clarets, quite rightly, were holding out for a bigger fee, reportedly around the 40 million mark. 25 to 30 million is what was being talked about, especially since Man City has a 20% sell-on clause from when they sold them to, of course, Burnley at Turf Moor. You can't blame them, to be honest, for wanting to maximise their profits. While the final figure is still being negotiated, the feel is that a compromise is very, very close now for James Trafford to come to Newcastle United. The player himself, of course, has been very key part of this deal. Trafford has been open about his desire to come to St James's Park and was even disappointed when the deal fell through last year. He recently said that the club he was close to joining was a brilliant fit and that he really wanted to move. That's what you want to hear, to be honest, from a player who's genuinely desperate to pull on the Newcastle United shirt and pull on the club shirt and get into it. Personal terms are not to be, an issue at the end of the day, as the verbal pact that was made last year still is considered to be valid. So what we're getting, a 22-year-old goalkeeper tipped a bit by many as the future England number one. Last season in the Championship, he was sensational, keeping an incredible 29 clean sheets. Confident. He's got a bit of a swagger about him as well, as we all know with the gun celebration awards and Mackhams, and he possesses a self-belief needed to thrive as well going forward. This is a player that is going to be a really, really good option for us, and with Burnley already getting themselves a replacement, it looks like he is pretty close to coming to Newcastle United. This is a signing for the day and for tomorrow. He'll come in and provide serious competition for Nicky Pope at just 22. He's clearly a long-term successor as well, and he's a similar mould to Eddie Howe's previous signings, where we've seen him, sign Aaron Ramsdale when he was at Bournemouth. It's just got Eddie Howe written all over this deal. It's just a perfect deal, and hopefully we'll see him signing on the dotted line and having his medical at Newcastle United pretty soon. So, the drama side of things. Now, for the part that will have most of us tearing our hair out, the part that feels like classic, so close yet so far. For weeks, Newcastle have been heavily linked with Brighton's Brazilian forward Joao Pedro. He was top target, a player that the club has admired since his Watford days. We're trying to get him. Only backing out, of course, so that we could go and get HIJACK from Real Sociedad. Newcastle put in a formal offer, understood to be around 50 million, 45 million up front with 5 million in add-ons, but Brighton have knocked that back as the tough negotiators as always, and they paid just under 30 million for him back in 2023, and are demanding at least double their money. Of course, setting their asking price at a firm 60 million, with Watford also having a sell-on clause in there as well to try and get some money back for themselves, while Newcastle are figuring out our next move and we end up a hefty price tag. The Vultures started to circle in this case. The Vultures are wearing blue and live in West London. It's that team again. It is Chelsea. They seem to be all over Newcastle United's transfers. They just never seem to stop. They just constantly keep jumping in there and stealing away players from Newcastle. And it's getting a bit out of hand now. But apparently, Joao Pedro has said that he is interested in a move to Chelsea. But he is still interested in Newcastle as well. Like I said on the channel previous, his teammate Igor Julio was saying that, he was pretty interested in living in London. So it looks like this deal might be a one where, we see Joao Pedro going to Chelsea more than coming to us. Is it a massive blow? Not really, to be honest, because there is plenty of options out there. And if the player is deciding to go to Chelsea where they've already got 10 plus wingers already, then that shows to me that this player doesn't really have much of an ambition and much of a drive. And it's definitely a player, that would be great for us. But if he doesn't have the drive, he doesn't have the ambition, he just wants to go sit on Chelsea's bench and be part of 10 plus wingers that they've already got there, then let him do that at the end of the day, because that is just showing that this player clearly has no ambition, no drive to, enjoy his football. So what kind of window are we looking at here? At the moment, it's been a bit of a quiet window, but when news has popped up, it has been a bit of an emotional one, with quite a few different names being linked to Newcastle United. But James Trafford news, massive news. It's what we've been waiting for. Hopefully, it's not long now until the lad, like I say, signs on the dotted line and becomes a Newcastle United player, because he's wanting this. He's well up for this move, and that's what we want to see. As Newcastle United fans, we want to see somebody that is willing to come here and pull on the shirt and give it everything for Newcastle United, because that is what we love at this club. On the Joao Pedro situation, honestly, this one stings a bit. It's a gut punch, because he is a really good player. He's a perfect fit, versatile forward, everything. But if he wants to go to Chelsea, then so be it. At the end of the day, we're not going to be going into a bidding war with teams over a player that, wanted to come to Newcastle United. Now suddenly, because another team's jumped in the form of Chelsea, he wants to go there. At the end of the day, let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. But it seems like we are seeing this a lot. Every time Newcastle's going for a player, there's another player being linked with a move to Chelsea. And Chelsea just seem to be there every single time, just keep jumping on the back of Newcastle's transfer targets, and they're doing it with other teams as well. I mean, how many bloody players do these want? How many bloody players do Chelsea want to have? You can only play 11 players in a team, but Chelsea seem to want 100 players in their disposal, and that is just absolutely pathetic. And the Premier League's allowing them to do it. The Premier League's allowing them to go out there and spend billions, 2 billion in a matter of 3 windows, 4 windows. This is absolutely pathetic. It's beyond a joke. And they're complaining about us and Man City being the teams to worry about with, Arabian money. And here you've got Chelsea, Todd Bowley, an American that knows nothing about football, literally thought that you got Champions League every single season, even without working for it. And he's just allowed to do whatever he wants. Let us know your thoughts anyway down in the comments below. As always, remember to like, share, subscribe to the channel. And like I say, positive news on the James Trafford transfer saga. Finally, it looks like it might be coming to an end now, as the verbal agreement is in place, and it's just about hammering out the fee for the player. And then, of course, we'll hopefully get to see him sign on the dotted line after I'm having his medical here on Tyneside. But till next time, see you all later, and how are the lads?